Hi, I know I'm alone on my in the lounge. I'm alone in the couch for a minute, but Joan will join soon, and so I ask for your indulgence. But I really wanted to draw some attention to some things that we probably haven't spoken about. If it's the first time you're joining us on Lounge Lyme, my name is Coleen Douglas. I'm hosting. My guest will be Joan Webbley. She's a young attorney who specializes in intellectual property law. As you know, Reggae Online, we have quite a bit of things that you can take part in. We have a book club. There is a podcast, but we will keep advertising on the platform. If you want to do a course, you can also do so. But I wanted to speak a little bit about reggae music of Jamaica as an intangible cultural heritage. As you know, we're still in Reggae Month. Jamaica celebrates Reggae Month every February, and it has grown across the world now. So the Ministry of Culture a few years ago, I believe it was 2018, applied for to UNESCO for reggae being installed as an intangible cultural heritage of Jamaica. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about that reggae music of Jamaica plays a significant role in advancing the human rights dialogue and in Jamaica and in communities worldwide. And it's an integral part of social commentary. I know the buzz now is the Bob Marley's One Love movie. So you're probably thinking, yes, that is true if you watched it and the making of the Exodus album. So you know the impact. We have other wonderful artists from Jamaica, even from the Wailers band, Bunny Wailer, the so we had Bonnie Whaler, Peter Tosh, we've had Jimmy Cliff. We have a lot of successful artists across the world. We also have successful reggae festivals across the world that just draw one, it feeds an economy here in Jamaica because our artists and musicians are able to travel and perform. And we also feed a tourist industry in Jamaica with festivals, whether it's Rebel Salute or Sumfest. So why do we say the contribution towards visibility of an intangible cultural heritage is that reggae music of Jamaica has been used locally and internationally to promote dialogue around issues of one, human rights, ethnic diversity, environmental concerns, cultural awareness, and religious tolerance. The element is one which contributes to a better understanding of and the improvement in the visibility of other tangible cultural heritage elements, particularly those which use music as a powerful and creative vehicle of the human experience. And so that is why we got reggae music as an intangible cultural heritage of Jamaica. Of course, for those who watched it, you may recall that the entire audience burst out in the singing of One Love, and it was a joyful occasion for us. And because the truth is that few countries of a size like Jamaica would have enjoyed the successes we've had from our music, yes, also from track and field. And so we want to talk a little bit about the different genres that would make reggae from ska, mento, ska, rocksteady, reggae, dub and dancehall, and the technical innovations from the sound system. Now, Kingston was also declared a creative city of music in I think that was 2016. So why were we declared a creative city of music, and what does this mean? It means that we joined, at the time when we joined, over 130 other countries across the world in a creative cities network. And it really means that we're able to use our music for social upliftment, economic success, and just create an ecosystem around something that means so much to us. So yes, reggae is gold. As Joan comes on and we will talk a little bit more about reggae, Jamaica's gold rather, and what does this mean and how can we protect it. But I wanted to really just share that in some kind of way, having the declaration of reggae being an intangible cultural heritage, specifically of Jamaica, was one way that we protect this wonderful music that we call reggae and that we want to claim as ours. So yes, you are free anywhere you are in the world to use reggae. You are free to partake of it, to use it, to recreate your own sounds. But what we want to state is that reggae was born in a little place called Kingston Town in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, in the West Indies. So like all the tangible cultural heritage, reggae is a living, breathing, dynamic thing. And so it continues to evolve both out of need as well as volition. And so we are going to probably over this year, we should say, talk to a lot of our icons on the lounge just to hear of their own process and how their environment impacts the music they create, how their environment pushes certain subject matters when they're writing, and how the environment really supports them. So that are some of the things we want to ask. And if you have any questions or any concerns, anything you're unsure of about reggae, we invite you to drop your comments in the chat. We also invite you to be specific about your comments on copyright. Are you a young artist? Are you an arts administrator who want to find out a little bit more about reggae music, copyright, and so forth? You can also do that. So I don't want to burst because we want to have a full-on conversation about the Marley movie at another time with some of our lecturers and just people, some of us from the Reggae Online family. And so, but yes, I would like for those of you who've watched it to share your comments with us at Reggae Online, whether it's on any of our platforms, Facebook, Instagram, or X, formerly Twitter. Just share your comments and let's hear what you think. And also let us move beyond the sentimental parts of it where you think a Jamaican should play. And if we talk about, well, my own perspective, if I were to talk about the movie without giving much away, because I know it's still fresh and others have not yet gone to enjoy it, is that I thought that the elements that made it a movie, the first thing I would say is that it was kind of a very special tribute, not just for Bob, but for Rita Marley. I think her children, the family, honored her in that movie by giving her a voice to speak beyond Bob Marley. The time, I personally think that the movie should not have been called One Love, it should have been called Exodus, because Exodus, it was about that particular album and there was so much focus about it. But I recall speaking to someone when we came out of the cinema. I went to the premiere, so I watched it before it was released. But when I came out, someone said to me, I actually cried. And I said, why did you cry? And what she explained was, I don't know how far Jamaica has really moved beyond the 70s in terms of our approach to crime and violence even. And that gave me some amount of food for thought because I really wasn't sure if we've moved on that much. I think we are not, as a nation, have we really grown from that, So that is part of the conversation. I didn't like something, and it was the motif of the burning cane field. I felt like we were in 1976, let's say 1975. And that kind of motive I found was kind of pushing it. And yes, we have an enslaved past, we have a plantation past. So I kind of got it, but it wasn't my favorite scene in the movie. What I thought was beautiful, though, was the suggestion that the man on the white horse is Bob's dad, that he longed for throughout his life. And he found a father figure in His Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie, who comes out in the end. We had some big wigs. So the Mota Baruka played the gatekeeper. I found that pretty amusing. I thought the young Bob, I actually like the young Bob and the young Rita. For me, Lashana paled beside Kingsley. I thought that he was so great playing Bob that what she played as Rita, and perhaps because we do not have as many documentaries or many records of Rita Marley for her to observe, and she's observing her at this stage of her life. I really didn't know if she portrayed her as best, but I think the job was fair. So if I were ranking, I would give Kingsley a comfortably 9 out of 10. I would give Lashana, on the other hand, perhaps 6.5, 7 out of 10. Joan has said to me that she's not usually this late and she's super apologetic, but it really is important that because we're live and we've already started, so I really want to continue. So I'm hoping that she joins us in short order. If you haven't been watching the Lounge Lyme for this reggae month, it is one of the things. I think the first week we spoke to Gussie Clark. We spoke to Gussie Clark and we were speaking a little bit about publishing and the publishing that Joan will kind of speak to more about in terms of copyright and how we can protect our works. Gussie gave us some real hands-on as an experienced producer of what he does and how he found the hit songs. We apologize again for what happened last week with Alan Skillcole, and we were really looking forward to that conversation with Alan and Steve Golding, who we had some technical difficulties, so we are going to bring that show back as we talk about the importance of archiving culture in general and archiving our music. So it is important that we recognize that. I'm not sure, Michael, if you're in the tech. Joan is saying that she is in the lounge. I'm not seeing her at all. I'm not actually seeing her. So if you see her for me, I would appreciate that. And you can bring her in. Yes, but she is backstage. So I'm not seeing any comments yet. So I'm really just waiting on Joan to come in. Well, it's show business and it will go on. I am hoping that Michael sees my message and he can resolve the issue of Joan being backstage. I'm not seeing Joan backstage at all. I'm not able to bring her in. Joan was saying that she's backstage. I'm actually not seeing her. So while we wait, I wanted to talk a little bit about Reggae Month and how that started. I think now this is our 15th year. It's our 15th year. In 2008, the Governor General of Jamaica declared February Reggae Month for a couple of reasons: for the impact reggae has on our community, our local community in Jamaica, and also its extended impact outside of our shores. It was also important that month because we celebrate birthdays of Bonnie Ruggs, Dennis Brown, Bob Marley, and quite a number of others in the month of February, and so it is quite likely. Michael, if you're hearing me, she's saying that she entered and she's backstage, but I'm not seeing her. Oh, I think she's saying that she is backstage. Unless it is the wrong link that she has, you think? So I have actually shared, and we are waiting on our guest. If you're just joining us, we do apologize that the Lounge Lyme is a little bit late because our guest is running late. She lives outside of Jamaica. She actually lives in Italy, and was trying to get to a spot where she could jump in anytime now. Also, our fault somewhat. We might have given her the wrong link, but she is now logging in, and I am awaiting her to come in. But before I took my eyes off the screen to speak to her, I was actually speaking about the importance of Reggae Month and how Reggae Month has grown over time. The Jamaica Reggae Industry Association has been chiefly responsible up to perhaps 2016 for staging Reggae Month activities, and they developed some signature events, Reggae Wednesdays, Reggae Oakmore University, and the Jaria Honor Awards that is done every year, which honors stalwarts in the industry, from whether it's engineers, producers, media, musicians, artists, all of those are honored during that time. And it is a peer reviewed kind of a, you must be active in the industry. It's peer reviewed by really good ones in the industry and it's also open. The popular artists and the song of the year, those are open to the public to do. And so that happens every year. Um, this year there is actually what is called a Reggae Gold Awards that comes up on Thursday, and they'll be honoring 32 stalwarts, including the two special awardees this year are Beanie Man and Bounty Killer, who will be honored in a live event held at the National Arena on Thursday. So that is what is happening for Reggae Month, and I think that will actually close out the activities for Reggae Month this year. I actually think that if Joan doesn't come in the next 2 minutes, I will abort the lounge, because the lounge cannot be, it just can't happen with just me one talking, so I may abort the lounge. Hi, Joan.
Greetings, greetings. My apologies, and thank you for the patience, Colleen. I made it.
I think I spent the last 20 minutes talking to myself. So because we're scheduled for a 60 minutes. Welcome, Joan. So Joan, you're seeing on screen. Perhaps Joan, I think if you switch the device in the other direction, you may.
Hmm. In this
I'm seeing
direction?
it, I'm seeing it clearly, so it's okay.
Okay.
It's like horizontal instead of vertical, kind of. So you fully screen.
Okay. No, no. Unfortunately, I'm not able to connect via my laptop, so I think it's because it's the mobile phone that you're seeing it in a
Okay. All
slimmer
right. So I'm
version.
going to use the time that we have now wisely, and
Yes,
I'm going to
please.
jump right into the conversation like an elevator pitch. Who is Joan Webbley? So you have exactly 90 seconds.
Okay, fabulous. I am a Jamaican. I think that's the one central thing that has defined most of what I've done in my life or how I've led my life is really being proud of the legacy of our culture and really being inspired to figure out how I can contribute to making that culture help all of us live a better life. I think I am super grateful to have been born a Jamaican, and I want to be a part of what makes it able for all of us Jamaicans to live a great life in Jamaica. And I think the culture is the way for that. So this discussion today, and thank you, Coleen. Thank you to the Lounge Lyme for inviting me. This is my first time here. I hope to come back. It is really something that has really I'm grateful for any opportunity to really be able to speak about my culture and be able to contribute to how we're moving forward.
So speaking about culture, growing up Jamaican, for those who
Yes.
don't know you, tell us a little bit about growing up Jamaican.
Right. I think my Jamaican experience is unique. I definitely don't think that I had the typical Jamaican experience. I am born into a very political family. I don't think it can get more political than my start. And so it gave me a different perspective into things, and it gave me, at the end of it all, for better or worse, it gave me a real appreciation for what it means to stand up for your people, what it means to be proud of your country. And I have traveled, I have done different things. Sorry, just one moment, please. My apologies. I had some interference or struggles with the internet. Um, yeah, I am I'm someone who has really just spent my entire time trying to figure out how I can give back to my country because I feel like it has poured so much into me. I've been fortunate to live in different places, and everywhere I go I see Jamaica represented, and I try to understand how Jamaica can benefit greater.
Thank you, Joan. How did you start out in music? What
Um,
happened?
re- what drew me was records. So I am a vinyl baby, which is I think surprising to a lot of persons. I discovered my father's record collection and taught myself how to figure out how to get this record player going. And there was something about the first time I heard vinyl. I remember I had a cousin because a lot of my family is from Spain. And this cousin would bring sound system tapes and would listen to the clashes. And just growing up in Jamaica, as I said, it is the defining factor of who I am, and wherever I go in the world, I take that with me.
Mhm. So I want to go straight in. So I did introduce you earlier, Joan. I told them you were a young attorney. You notice me and the young. It means that she's young, but her years of practice older. um, Reggae music, Jamaica's gold, protected. Can you explain the basics of copyright law and how it applies to creative work?
Absolutely. And also to give a better answer to the question you'd asked before, how I really got started in music was first in Australia. So when it comes to copyright, in summary, I left Jamaica first. You must understand, when I was 14 years old. That was the first time I moved out of Jamaica. And since then, I've lived in Grenada, I've lived in Canada, I've lived in Australia, I've lived um in Trinidad, and now I live in Italy. And the one constant thing everywhere I went was I would see Jamaican culture everywhere. It began with seeing posters in dorm rooms of my fellow, yardies in exile, as I'd like to consider ourselves. You see the Bob Marley posters everywhere, and then when you're traveling and you see Jamaican t-shirts and you see your culture everywhere, as a young person, I started to think it's incredible that, I was one of the many that was leaving Jamaica because of FinSAC and all of our different economic challenges. And I couldn't understand how everywhere I went, Grenada, Trinidad, Canada, Jamaican music, Jamaican culture, Jamaican food was appreciated everywhere. And it didn't make sense to me that our country was not doing well economically. So once I was able to figure out that copyright was that thing that made the difference between music and money, I think I was about 18 years old once I figured that out, and it's really shaped everything I've done since. I went and I studied in Australia, studied music business, Studied business and law with a music industry specialization, and then I came back to Jamaica as soon as I could, really, just to be part of it. I recognize that what needs to be done for Jamaica to really benefit from our culture, which is the topic of this discussion, is not a one-man job. It's a collective mission that will require many soldiers along the journey. And so I've done a variety of things, but everything has really just been to pitch in, to get in where I fit in, and to be a part of the solution. And copyright is definitely a major pillar in what will take us forward.
Okay, thank you. I'm actually gonna give you a question from a student who wanted to find out the difference between copyright, trademark, and patenting.
Excellent. In preparing for today's conversation, I was like, if there's a few things I can get through, that is one of the things I want to leave, is a very, very clear appreciation for anyone listening that intellectual property, that is the ticket. That is the big catch-all under which copyright, you may have heard of trademarks, patents, inventions, all of those things, anything which is a creation of the mind put into physical form becomes what is called intellectual property. And copyright is the most popular because it's the one with creative works. So whenever you think of anything to do with your creativity, be it writing, singing, dancing, acting, performing, all of that falls under the copyright. When you think of branding, then you're thinking about trademarks. And when you're thinking about inventions, then you're thinking about patents. So those are the three big schools of intellectual
Mhm.
property: copyright, trademarks, and patents. And the mixture of those three is what brings the magic when it comes to intellectual property. That's what makes you and generations of your family perhaps benefit from your creativity and your innovations.
One of the things I wanted to ask a question, but I don't want to forget this one. That while they were speaking, I thought about some of the conversations surrounding the Bob Marley movie. The one I saw most recently was a comment on Facebook with someone speaking about Cox and Dodd suffering from Island Records kind of redoing music and him not being able to benefit from it in the long run because of that redo. You're aware of that conversation? And is that something you can comment on?
Um, okay, so one thing I very much try not to do, this is in no way legal advice, and I'm very careful not
Yeah.
to give legal opinion, of course, when I don't know the details of things. But what is very true is that Jamaica did not initially benefit from its copyright as much as it could or should have. And
Okay.
that is something that, we have made updates to our copyright law. You must remember, when these laws were first passed, when copyright first came into being, Jamaica wasn't even an independent country. we
Yeah.
we really inherited our laws from Britain, and we have done some revisions. It takes us time, unfortunately, and each time technology changes, and this is an important point I want to leave with anyone that's listening, each time technology changes, intellectual property laws have to change, particularly copyright. And so what it creates is a new opportunity. So I think, in an answer to your question, there were missed opportunities, I think, from the fact that Jamaica did not initially understand or appreciate or deal with copyrights as well as it could have. And we have an array of issues, from double recordings in the case of Cox and Dodd to orphan works, which are recordings that have been done, but it's not clear who is the owner, and so no one
Mhm.
benefits. And we have a number of issues like that we need to regularize and address. But however, the reality is that once technology changes, and right now we're in the middle of a huge technological shift, what that creates is uncertainty, but opportunities, huge opportunities for anyone that has intellectual property.
I'm glad you went there, Joan, because I'm actually curious about protections for digital content and or
Yes.
online works. Where are we in that as Jamaicans, or where are we in that in music?
I think it's interesting. I think for us as Jamaicans, I want us to always marry. You know how sometimes when things scarce, we marry it in the shops. I would love for us to marry any discussion of protection with promotion or use, because
Okay.
it's one thing to protect it, but how are you actually using it? You don't benefit solely from protecting it. You benefit from putting the thing into use. And so in Jamaica, I feel like we tend to have a fear based response to intellectual property. We tend to go from the sense of we are being robbed, and I'm worried about what other people are doing with my property, and we spend less time thinking about what we can do with our property. So that is where I would love to see our conversation go to. The law has been updated not recently. The law has been updated enough to help us to navigate some of the issues that I mentioned before. There've been new provisions so we can understand how to deal with orphan works. There have been updates to deal with the different technological changes. But what I'm not seeing enough happening in Jamaica, on a national or individual level, is us really investing more thought into how we're going to use it. How are we strategically going to use this property?
Okay. Okay. You know, as I said, where we are, I do remember you being at JIPO, that is a Jamaica Intellectual Property.
Intellectual property.
Do you think we do? I'm sorry, I named, but it's not an indictment. Just want to know, just as a country generally, are we doing enough in terms of public education?
I'm gonna thank you again for this conversation, and it's interesting because we didn't have a pre-talk before this, and so I wondered where the interview would go. But you are heading exactly where I hoped we would get to, which is, if we actually want to do better, if we actually want to make a change, then we need to look at the institution and how we're approaching this thing as a whole. When I was copyright manager of JIPO, I managed a department of zero. Me meaning that
Meaning,
for a country like Jamaica, which is a cultural powerhouse, we defy the norm. We don't operate like how WIPO says we should. We produce things more than makes sense almost. But for a country with that level of creativity, we really don't have enough persons paying attention to this, in terms of regulating it. Our copyright directorate or copyright department is two people. Those two persons, I mean, when I was there, it was the same as myself and an assistant, and you are responsible for everything from training the police and the judges and anyone who calls, to reporting to the ministers of government, to going overseas and negotiating treaties on behalf of the country. So it really, when you think of all that could be done, we are nowhere near to scratching the surface for what I would love to see happen for Jamaica and Jamaica's copyright industries. There's so much potential.
thank you, Joan. I was here trying to share Michael's stream to my stream so that we can have, our crew on Facebook hearing, listening in, because I think it's really, really important. What's fair use? That's another student question, by the way.
Excellent questions. And also, when I make presentations, as I'm always happy to do at Edna Manley College, I'm there every year. UA, I'm there every year with the first years, because it's important to understand that copyright strikes a balance. Copyright is always trying to strike a balance between, as I said before, protecting works and allowing for use, because it makes no sense that innovations or creativity cannot be utilized. That is what progresses all of humanity. And so it's that balance that created what is called fair use. Fair use is an exemption to the copyright restrictions. And to explain it properly, I'd like to just take one step back, which we would have done in the beginning if were I not a little bit late, which is to define what copyright is.
Mhm.
Copyright is a is a bundle of rights. First of all, it's not just one right, but it's a group of rights that you, as a creator or as the owner of a creative work, is entitled to. And it's these different rights that you're able to leverage to make an income. So, to make it even plainer, when you create something, when you take an idea or an innovation and you put it into actual physical form, you are immediately the owner of what is called copyright. It's a form of intangible property, but you're a property owner. And you have the right to decide who can adapt, who can make an adaptation, who can make a reproduction, who can use, who can otherwise publicize your work. There are all of these different rights that you could become entitled to just by virtue of being the creator. You restrict the use. What fair use allows for is for the public to be able to enjoy the benefit of this creation, um, to a certain level, still allowing you to be able to make an economic benefit from what you've created, but also allowing what's generally required as being essential for human advancement. So fair use is an exemption based on if you're doing a variety of things, if you're making an educational use. So for example, today, if I want to make an example of something, if I want to play two pieces of music in this talk, ordinarily copyright would say I need to get permission. But because what we're doing today is for educational purpose, that's considered a
Mhm.
fair use. That's for the advancement of humanity. And so I don't need to get permission. I don't need to pay a license fee in order to do education. Education is one of those things. Satire or critical political commentary, those things that are generally seen as being for the collective good are exempt from the restrictions that would otherwise require you to pay for using some copyright or creative material.
So when I worked at a radio station for years, so when you hear about non gratis, how is that? How does that work? So
Uh,
so
Sorry,
so
elaborate.
you ask a I recall using a former band from Edna. I think it was Notice, one of their tracks in an ad, and the radio station tell me, "Oh, we can't use it unless you get a non gratis from the artist." So there's a no obligation. So but I wondered if that was also fair use.
What this is considered is a more a waiver of the rights.
Okay.
It's not that it's fair. It's not that ordinarily they wouldn't be required to use it, but of course, you as the owner of the rights, you get the right to decide whether or not and how much someone should pay for the use of your material. So it really wasn't so much an obligation, I suppose, as a request to the artist or to the create or owner of the creative material that they would waive their rights for this particular use to payment, waive their rights to payment for this particular use.
By the way, she is Justice, Justess, Joan on IG. So if you want to reach out for, and you're an artist and you really want copyright advice, you may reach her for that. So I actually want to know, just talk to Joan and not force her to put on her attorney hat so much, because I think we've gotten a lot in the last 15 minutes, Joan, from this conversation about copyright. But I want to go back to reggae music, Jamaica's gold.
Mm.
To you, is it really gold? And how
To
you
me,
investing?
to me, it's platinum. It passed gold. I am, I am unfortunately not in Jamaica at present. But yesterday I literally, was in Rome and I was in a cinema and I'm watching a story about an artist who passed away before I was born,
Mhm.
and that is the power of Jamaican reggae. You know, the Marley legacy. First of all, I almost did not know what Marley meant to me, but at the end of that film, I found myself in tears, and it wasn't because of the acting, which I thought was incredible. I'm one of those persons. I actually enjoyed all aspects of the thing. I thought, it's a film. I know it wasn't the full story, but I
Mhm.
enjoyed what they shared with us. But more than that, it was the message, and I think it's not even maybe the stereotypical message in the music that persons normally would have seen. But for someone like myself who has been so connected and so sure that copyright is going to be a huge game changer, this Marley film was sort of like a hammer to the head, reminding me of of the missed magic of Marley. That is Jamaica's tragedy to me. When you listen to the interviews and when you see who and how Marley was, and I'm not talking about all of the extra things about it. I'm talking about what the music, which is what we're speaking about, meant to the man, and the seriousness with which he approached it, and what he saw that it could do. That's something to be respected. But the message that I think that Jamaica has really missed is the the full 360 of the thing. When you hear that at Marley's house there on Hope Road, he had his printing press and him have his studio and he has his rehearsal. This is a man who is not only focused on the message that he's putting in his songs, but he's
Mhm.
fully concerned about he's aware of the machine behind the message. And he
Yeah.
wanted to be able to control all of that. And that is the one thing that I'm very sad for Jamaica, because we keep saying it, we are a factory of greatness. We produce this thing called reggae. It is our oil. We don't have oil like Iraq. Reggae is what we can mine nonstop. But we still have not done enough, I believe, to really be able to benefit as a people. And that is the sadness to me. I would love to see Jamaica be a more integrated industry and really bring more of that benefit home to the creators, and create a playing field where the youth with the talent are facilitated in the way that a South Korea, for example, facilitates their talent. There are too many gaps in commercialization for Jamaican culture, and we need to close those.
How do we close them?
Excellent question. I think there's a few things we can do. I First of all, when you look at Vision 2030, let me not pretend like I'm inventing the wheel. Vision 2030 very clearly states that public-private partnerships are the way in which we move the needle, in which we achieve a lot of what we say are our stated objectives. So to
Mhm.
be even plainer, I think that JIPO should come off of the government um, coffers. Consolidated the JIPO funds don't need to go into consolidated funds. I think JIPO and perhaps another entity could form a public-private partnership and really emulate and copy what has been done in South Korea. And people might feel bad to hear me say it, but I don't feel no way. If something works, then we should follow a system that is proven. So in
Mhm.
South Korea, the government combined with their music industry and invested in their youth and their culture. And that is what we call K-pop, which is running the place worldwide. Now, us in Jamaica, we have a basket carrying water. And I think to myself, if we, no disrespect, but when, not if, but when we get rid of the Governor General and we reclaim the lands of King's House, I would really love to see that land be put to proper use. And by proper use in my mind, I mean I would like to see an entertainment zone. I would like to see a performing arts high school. I would like to see an agency. I would like to see a publishing company. I would like to see all of those aspects of the bigger industry that Jamaica is missing, because
Yeah.
what we have in the marketplace is the talent. And I've been fortunate enough to travel enough to recognize that what we have in Jamaica, though we may think it's normal, it really is not.
Thank you, Joan. While you were talking, I passed Vale Royal a couple of times, and I am one of those high schoolers who enjoyed the Values and Attitudes program that they had, that the Prime Minister, then I think it was PJ Patterson, had at the time. So we used to go to Vale Royal for little meetings, and it was
Mm,
always a space that you honor. And this morning I saw a video that it's in really almost derelict condition.
I
And I
saw
thought,
that.
but we could really just put the Jamaica Music Museum right here, though. Like, why do we need it for anything else but that? When you
Um,
look at a space like that, just going into complete disrepair, why can't we use it to push Jamaica's gold?
what does our anthem say? Give us vision lest we perish. Give us vision lest we perish. That's the thing about Jamaica, and even as an entertainment lawyer, the irony of it is, what I always tell my clients, when you're reading your contract, it's not what's in it, but it's what's missing. That
Mhm.
can be the problem. And that's what I really feel with our cultural industries in Jamaica. It's not what's there, because God bless what Edna Manley has been doing. God bless what all the cultural entrepreneurs in Jamaica are doing with the little that we have, and how we're making it work and piecing it together. But there is so much that is possible if we really just, facilitated the greatness that is already there in the way that we see it facilitated worldwide. This is not something that we're pioneering. This is really just putting the things in place to allow our people to be great. And yeah, one more thing I will point to is quite separate and aside from all of the new wealth of talent that we have coming, we
Mhm.
also have a legacy. And that's again going back to Marley. That's the brilliance of intellectual property and copyright in particular, is that it's not just for you, the creator, it is for you and your generations. Because
Yeah.
this right and this commercial opportunity lasts after your death for an extended number of years. So it really is
Mhm.
a generational change. So we need to do more to empower our people. We, God bless, we have the Jamaica Music Conference, the Island Music Conference, we have Jaria, we have Ministry, we have all of these different agencies that are doing their seminars and doing their talks. But I really think that more can be done to actually support the owners of these legacies, because we have some giants there. It's
Yeah.
not just Bob. And there are lots of persons who, with a little bit of support, they can also be empowered to be doing greatness for themselves and the country.
Yeah. I keep saying that perhaps what we do is use the Marley family as a kind of a model of how we
Absolutely.
can, just build. What's one of the saddest thing for me is watching reggae icons grow old, get sick, and they're unable to afford even a burial.
Yeah.
Those things
Yeah.
for me are really, really basic, and you wonder where we're going and why we
How is
still.
this possible? How is this possible? You know, I want to highlight to you that you see in copyright, going back to what I said before, and I really encourage anyone watching who is serious about this. This is not like before when I had to go to university or when this
Mhm.
information was hidden. Jump on YouTube. Jump on YouTube. Many persons may not have
Jump
thought
on
of it
Reggae
before, so
Online.
I'm suggesting type in what is copyright, type
Yeah.
in what is, trademark, type in reggae royalties. Just start watching these videos, because unlike before, we have a lot of information out there now that we can really benefit from. And I would really love to see us be doing that more. Um, I forgot where I was going with it, but I just wanted to say that I think that there's a lot of family legacies that we can oh, this is what I wanted to say. I say when you look at the Marley film, for example, it's a perfect
Mhm.
example of how copyright has been extended.
Yeah.
We for whatever the critiques are, the fact is that when you are the owner of this personality right, or this privacy right, but also this copyright, it's not just what you're able to make from the song in its initial use, but it's all the spin-offs thereof. one of
Hmm.
one of the many rights I mentioned is an adaptation right. So for
Yeah.
example, if someone wanted to make a film from the song Three Little Birds, they would need to get permission from the Marley family. So it's just showing you how it continues to extend and how it continues to provide. And the what the knowledge that is required is not a steep level of
Mhm.
knowledge that is required. So empowering our people, in answer to your question in terms of how Jamaica benefits, knowledge and those kind of key agencies that will help us to do better.
Amen. How, you know, we spoke on the weekend, Joan, and I wrote something, but I haven't yet posted it. So I said, but we were having a laugh when we were watching, they call it the Lick Festival, Lost in Time. And the things that happen in Jamaica that we say only in Jamaica moments,
Mm.
where we're having a festival, but you have police force on the stage waving,
Yeah, yeah,
now.
yeah.
Um, and when we talk, so I really I brought that up only to speak to Jamaica's goal. Do you think Jamaicans really appreciate what the music is?
No, no. And I go back to when I was saying it before about the missed message in Marley. The missed message from Marley. It's yes, all of the songs have a message, but when you look at the bigger picture, it is that if we actually just believe in ourselves, love ourselves, believe in our culture, and follow through, we can't even begin to imagine the kind of progress and riches, I suppose, whatever you define that to be, that are available for us. Uh, we Marley was trying to do exactly what I was speaking about before, putting the entire factory in place. I watched an interview recently with China Smith, when he
Mhm.
was speaking about what Marley was really about. And what persons don't understand is that once Marley got in there and he learned about what the music business was really about, for him, it was no longer just about making the songs. He was now actively in the process of setting up his printing and in the process of setting up his own label. So we can only imagine where Marley would have taken it had he been with us for longer. We have to remember the man passed away at only 36. Had he been with us for longer, what would he have shown us in terms of the mogul that he could have
Mhm.
become? You know, we have a Jay-Z today, but maybe we would have had a Marley much earlier had he been able to live through and fulfill his vision. And that is what I would love to see for Jamaica as well. I don't see that still. Even though we've had a Shaggy and a Sean Paul since Marley, what I haven't seen is anyone really doing what he did in terms of trying to bring the business back to Jamaica and to control his entire story. And that is where I'd love to see Jamaica. We always say, we're the talent, we're that raw material. It's like we keep exporting the sugar cane and
Mhm.
we're waiting for us to set up the refinery and really do it all in Jamaica. And that's where we want to see it go. Because we are not short of talent. It's everything else that we really need to get together.
I mean, you went to vision earlier on, and I wanted to. What's your vision for the ideal music industry? When I say industry, sometimes I kind of wonder, we have an industry. What do we want to call it? We have a couple of successful individuals doing music, or do we actually have an industry? What do you think?
I think we're progressing towards having more of an industry. And for my vision, what we lack, I believe, and what we need to move forward in a bigger way is integration, in the biggest sense of the words. Integration within the island and integration with our diaspora. To me,
Mhm.
that's the secret. That's when we're really able to change things in a significant way. When you think about the fact that there are 3 million Jamaicans in Jamaica and 6 million Jamaicans outside of Jamaica. If we connect that collective greatness of the 9 million yardies, and we're really able to come up with a strategic plan and implement it, that's where we keep falling over because we come up with great plans. But if we were able to actually implement it in a sustained way, I would love to see a university up here, my university, a high school, beginning from there. So, talented young Jamaicans are able to audition and they enter into this high school, like Fame, we used to watch on TV, our Jamaican Fame. And we see that, and also for the business side of it, that we are also simultaneously, while we're developing our talent, we're developing our music accountants and our music managers and our music marketers. And then I'd love to see us have our version of K-pop, that internal strategic system, that think tank, where we're having people now say, okay, based on the skill of this person, we're gonna match them and we're gonna provide them with the team in the back end. And
Mhm.
just kind of a long-term vision. I'd love to see us have a publishing company, a national publishing company. This may not make sense for other countries, but for Jamaica, I think it actually would make sense. And we could tie our national publishing company into a life insurance company for the artists, so that they're able to have some sort of pension tied to their contribution to the national publishing. We just
Yeah.
need to get more creative and worry, yes, be concerned about protecting what we create, but more be interested and excited to figure out how we're going to promote
To
and
promote.
use what we create. Because last thing, I would love to see us digitize our content that we have there, because as I said before, technology changes every game. So with Web3, and with all of the changes and shifts that's happening in that technology, all time something come back again. Everything that we lost out on in the past, we have a new opportunity in Web3 to figure
Mhm.
out ways to renew and retain value for Jamaica. So for me, there are so many things that are possible, and I look forward to seeing what the next decade brings for Jamaica, if we're dynamic enough to and dare to move forward.
Joan, you've given us a lot of. I think Michael will be smiling. We have a lot of nuggets for sharing with our audiences who may have missed it. Um, with a few minutes to go, I kind of just, I'm curious, how your reggae in Italy? How is that?
You
What
know,
have you
this
seen?
this has been the biggest surprise for me. To realize that even here in a space where they really don't speak much English, Jamaica is firmly and strongly represented. Even in the heart of Rome, where we bonfire upon, they are here blazing the reggae flame. It's incredible. I live in the south of Italy now, or I'm here most of the year, and here and maybe it's a south thing, they still feel like a people who are, downtrodden or kind of looked down upon, and they resonated with our reggae music. It's
Hmm.
incredible that they were able to, without even understanding all the words, they were able to resonate with the vibration and claim it for themselves, and to they sing reggae not in Italian but in their Italian patois. So they sing in their Italian dialect as well, and they sing songs of encouragement. They really saw it as a way to have a sense of self-love, a sense of
Hmm.
self-pride. And it's ironic, but sometimes when I hear them speak about reggae, I think, damn it, I wish reggae did that for Jamaica. When you hear what reggae meant to Italians here, it's very interesting. And I wish to myself, wow, I wish reggae made Jamaicans love ourselves as much as this reggae music helps Italians to love themselves. It's very interesting. But yeah, reggae is here too. Reggae worldwide.
So you're not missing home
Oh no, I'm missing home.
and
Come on.
troubling you.
Come on. Come on. When we check it out, lad, no one better than yard for true. But yeah, I'm grateful that reggae is represented here too. If only I could get some Aki, then things would
We,
be
we,
level out.
we, you don't have the canned ones?
Not even.
We may
No
have to fix
Aki,
that.
no Appleton, no. Come on, I need to do better. We need to do better, Jamaica. Come, the world needs it. It's not just our reggae; it's everything we have to offer. Truly, Colleen. Our culture, boy. As I say, I'm so happy and grateful I was born a Jamaican.
Thank you, Joan. Joan Webbley. I know we started late, but it was definitely worth the wait, Joan. We appreciate the time that you are have shared. Joan is an attorney. Joan, do you want to share with them how you may be contacted in the event that someone wants to speak to you privately?
Absolutely. For now, the best means is as you mentioned before via Instagram at Justice Joan, JUSTESSJOAN. Um, I am I'm in the process of setting up a space, because I recognize that all of us have to play a part. I'm not just here pointing that finger saying, "Oh, Jamaica needs to do better." Jamaica is made up of Jamaicans. So I'm definitely also trying to figure out the way in which I can continue to play a part even while I'm outside of Jamaica. So I'm grateful again to the Lounge Lyme for this invitation. I'm grateful to you, Colleen. I
Thank you.
apologize again for being late. I hope I will be invited back.
You will.
Because I
We'll talk about the Nanook model as a
ah
kind of incubator. So the next time we talk to you, we'll definitely talk about that.
awesome.
Time is running out. You may see Reggae Online on all the platforms. Michael was just running them across the screen. IG, Facebook. We are also Reggae Online School on IG, Facebook, Reggae Online Jamaica on X, and on TikTok at Reggae Online. Of course, you may also visit the website and find out about all the courses. It has been my pleasure. My name is Coleen Douglas. Thanks again to Joan Webbley for joining us as we discuss reggae, Jamaica's gold, and how we protect that. Have a good one.
Blessings, everyone. Thank you.